I know this may seem like a weird question to ask, but what are your New Year's Eve party plans?
I'm planning the 100K party, and I'm thinking it's probably going to be New Year's Eve at my house. So I would be surprised if we don't go through 100K in November or December.
100K before the end of the year? That's my kind of party.
The number of calls that I'm getting inbound from investment advisors who are at 0 and looking to get to 1%, or at 1% and looking to get to 3%. These calls are starting to accelerate, and we think the flows are going to follow. So our price target for this cycle is 180K. We think we can reach that next year. That would be 1,000% return.
180K by next year? Bullish price signals for Bitcoin keep coming. Here's another example. Like the CIO of Bitwise saying that until we reach 500K per Bitcoin, then we're still in the early innings. If that doesn't make you bullish, look at the $5 billion worth of Bitcoin bought through ETFs in just the past 5 days. This is insane considering 80% of the inflows into spot Bitcoin ETFs are from individuals and not even institutions. They're not even here yet. Even firms like BlackRock, who have benefited from the Bitcoin ETFs hitting Wall Street, are just now starting to stack Bitcoin for themselves, as they've increased their Bitcoin Treasury Reserve holdings of their IBIT product from $5 billion in Q1 to over $90 million this quarter. These signals are all bullish for Bitcoin. But let me share something with you, especially if you're new to Bitcoin. Bitcoin will do what it's always done in the past, and that means inevitably it will be volatile and it's going to crash. New Bitcoiners come for the pumps. Seasoned Bitcoiners stay through the pullbacks. So if you're brand new to Bitcoin or you're just starting to get into it, I'm going to tell you something that you probably haven't heard in the midst of all of this bullish news. No, not that you need to buy Bitcoin. Everybody's saying that. You need to learn how to buy Bitcoin and how you can weather the inevitable crash and storms that will come. You need to learn about dollar cost averaging. I'm going to share some data and analysis on how Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy dollar cost average their Bitcoin holdings and how you can do so as well. This is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Let's get into it. When you see your neighbor at a house party dancing like this, or at a club dancing like this, you know they're OG Bitcoiners from 2012, or they bought into MicroStrategy when it was $20 a share. When bull markets start, I see so many people rushing into crypto to buy the tops. They hope to get rich quick. They see all of these tokens and meme coin schemes and think that they're going to hit it big with Bitcoin. But let me tell you one thing. Bitcoin is not crypto. When you see your neighbor pull up in a Lambo, fight the urge to put all of your life savings into tokens and scams like Ethereum. Yeah, that actually happened in real life. Bitcoin didn't become the 7th largest asset in the world by people trading it. Bitcoiners don't sell. We buy and hold. In fact, over 65% of the network has held Bitcoin for more than a year at this point. When looking at the entire history of the Bitcoin network, 1/3 of the coins have been held more than 5 years. When thinking about Bitcoin, you need to think in 4-year terms or cycles at a minimum. If you've held Bitcoin for a minimum of 4 years, regardless of when you bought it, you've never had an annual rate of return less than 27%. In the long term, the price is incredibly predictable. There's 3 up years and there's 1 down year. Speaking of long term, the correct time frame to hold your Bitcoin is forever. In the short term, the asset is incredibly volatile. So one question I'm getting a lot right now is, am I too late? The answer is no. The second most popular question is, how much should I buy, Dante? And here's my answer. Buy always and in small amounts. Everybody sees Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy stack at over 279,000 Bitcoin worth almost $25 billion and up over $12 billion in profit and think that they just got there all at once. They neglect the fact that MicroStrategy has made over 40 Bitcoin purchases ranging from $74,000 a coin down to $10,000 per coin, which gives them an average cost basis of just over $42,000 a coin. The lesson here is always be buying, and the savings power of Bitcoin over time will produce phenomenal returns for you. It gets rid of the timing the market risk. Let's look at some of the numbers from the Nakamoto portfolio made by the incredible wizard Hafa Zaguri and look at some of the ways that you can protect yourself and become a disciplined investor versus a crypto DJ. If we head over to the Nakamoto portfolio here and we do a Monte Carlo simulation, we're trying to forecast what the potential price forecast could be for Bitcoin if we look out 1 year and doing 1,000 simulations. So I've already run this simulation and here's what comes out. We don't know where Bitcoin's price will be exactly, but 77% of the time, it's higher than the value of where it started with. And the average price that this comes out to is $190,000 per coin. Pretty close to what the analyst from VanEck said at 180K. So in understanding this data and knowing that the price of Bitcoin when doing many simulations is pretty much guaranteed to go up over time, when is the best time to buy and how should we buy? Let's head back over to the Nakamoto portfolio. When buying into Bitcoin, there's two strategies that you can take. You can lump sum, YOLO, or buy all at once, or you can dollar cost average, the thing I'm trying to teach you about today. Let's look at this example right here. If you would have bought $10,000 worth of Bitcoin spread out over daily purchases from the high of 2021 at around $69,000 per coin to today, well, here's how it would have performed versus a lump sum or a YOLO strategy. The YOLO strategy would have only returned you 41.2%, which was worse than the daily dollar cost averaging strategy, which would have returned you 181% over the same time frame. You see, dollar cost averaging is the way that disciplined investors think about buying into Bitcoin, and it allows you to accumulate more Bitcoin at cheaper prices and less Bitcoin at higher prices. But you still continue to buy the asset class that you believe in over time. Let's contrast this with another scenario where you're trying to get lucky and put all of your money into Bitcoin all at once. So when trying to compare in YOLOing into Bitcoin versus dollar cost averaging, the thing you have to recognize is that over short periods of time, you can get more lucky and have outperformance versus dollar cost averaging. But is the reward worth the risk? In the previous example, you would have only been up by about 40%, but the dollar cost averaging would have gotten you up 180% over a longer period of time. Well, in this scenario, we're going to look at just purchasing Bitcoin over the course of a year and seeing how lump sum would have compared to dollar cost averaging. And what you see right here is that in 1 year time frame, the lump sum or YOLO strategy would have been up 144%, which was better than the dollar cost averaging strategy of about 62%. But you have to realize that a 62% return in any given year, thinking as an investor, is a great return. And although 140% is an even better return, you risk the chance of having one of those 40% return years when you could have had 180%. So adjusted for the reward that you get, the risk actually isn't as worth it. Everything we do in Bitcoin, we want to think long-term. And if we're thinking long-term and the long-term value of our asset going up, we don't want to just think about when we buy Bitcoin right now. We want to think about passing this asset on to our grandkids. That's why you need to take care to protect your investment into Bitcoin by heading over to thebitcoinway.com. One of their coaches will help you learn to take self-custody of Bitcoin, understand privacy and cybersecurity, and take control of your financial future. Bitcoin is an entirely new asset and we need to treat it as such by adjusting how we care for it. Head to thebitcoinway.com to schedule a meeting with their team today as you begin to think more long-term about your Bitcoin strategy. In a research report that Hafa and Sam Callahan did while they were at Swan on the Swan research team, they found that investing into other crypto tokens versus Bitcoin simply is not a good risk-reward strategy. They analyzed the returns of Bitcoin to about 8,000 other crypto tokens. And here's what they found. Only 41 of them outperformed Bitcoin, and they only outperformed by 40%. 2,600 of them underperformed Bitcoin, and they underperformed by an average of 96%. Over 5,000 of them died altogether. The safe thing to do is to simply buy, hold, and secure your Bitcoin. I'm sure those numbers are even more lopsided now and in Bitcoin's favor, as Bitcoin continues to be the dominant player in the crypto market, owning about 60% of the entire crypto industry by market cap. Learn from Saylor when he says there is no second best. And learn that life-changing returns don't just come from what you buy, but how and when you buy that thing. Bitcoin. Become a more disciplined investor. Consider dollar cost averaging. If you're starting to pick up these terms like buy the dip, dollar cost averaging, hodling, being a long-term thinker, having a long time preference, then you might want to consider meeting other people who say crazy and weird things like you. And there's going to be a ton of those people in Dallas, Texas, between April 3rd and April 6th at the BitBlockBoom conference. Experience the Bitcoin community and other weird folks just like yourself in real life. Oh, and people like me are going to be there too. Your ticket allows you to level up your education with workshops on Friday, attend conference sessions on Saturday, and a casino party on Saturday night, which would be pretty lit. You're going to get content from OGs like Marty Bent and Tales from the Crypt and Parker Lewis with Gradually Then Suddenly. And then you're going to hear other random people at the conference like me. Get $100 off your ticket today for the BitBlockBoom conference at bitblockboom.com by using the promo code BBB21. Again, use the promo code BBB21. I can't wait to kick it with you all in Dallas, Texas this year. And with that, this is Dante Cook with Bitcoin Simply. Happy stacking.